Imagine two masterminds separated by centuries. One, an Italian diplomat writing in the shadows of collapsing kingdoms. The other, a Chinese general carving wisdom from the fires of ancient war. Machiavelli versus Sun Tzu. The prince versus the art of war. This isn't just philosophy. It's a secret war of ideas that still shapes how power works today. And here's the question that matters most. If these two men sat across the same table, who would win? Set up, both books are short, almost pocket manuals of dominance. Both have been banned, burned, or whispered about across history. And both claim to show the only true path to survival when the world turns brutal. But their weapons are different. Sun Tzu is the strategist, the chess master. He sees war as a game of patience, deception, and timing. Machiavelli is the knife in the dark. He strips morality away and tells rulers to do whatever it takes to stay in power. Two codes, two worlds, one battlefield. Machiavelli's code. Let's start with Machiavelli. Florence, 1500s. A city-state caught between popes, kings, and mercenaries. Machiavelli was no armchair philosopher. He lived in the chaos. He saw weak rulers fall. He saw mercenaries betray their masters. He saw alliances snap like thin glass. So he wrote The Prince, a survival guide for rulers in a cutthroat world. His message was brutal but clear. Forget morality and focus on power. If lying keeps you alive, lie. If cruelty keeps you respected, be cruel. If mercy makes you weak, abandon it. Better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both, that is not advice. That is law in Machiavelli's world. Sun Tzu's strategy now. Sun Tzu. China. Around 500 BC, a land of warring states, endless battles, and shifting generals. Unlike Machiavelli, Sun Tzu wasn't writing for a single prince. He was writing for commanders, for leaders of kings. His book, The Art of War, is a manual on how to win before the fight even begins. All warfare is based on deception. Strike where your enemy is unprepared. Hide strength with weakness. Turn weakness into bait. For Sun Tzu, the greatest victory was the one you never had to fight. The enemy should collapse under pressure, confusion, and manipulation before swords even cross. The clash begins. So here's the secret war. Machiavelli says power is about ruling hearts and crushing threats. Sun Tzu says power is about reading the map and shaping the battlefield. Machiavelli focuses on politics. Sun Tzu focuses on war. But the overlap is where the sparks fly. Sun Tzu says, appear weak when you are strong. Machiavelli says, mask your intentions. Both worship deception, but for different ends. Sun Tzu uses deception to win battles without fighting. Machiavelli uses deception to hold on to power once you have already won. So, who is right? Who is stronger? Case study. The prince on the battlefield? Let's test them. Imagine a battlefield. Sun Tzu commands one side. Machiavelli advises the ruler of the other. Sun Tzu sets traps. He spreads misinformation. He hides his strength, lures the enemy, and waits for the perfect strike. Machiavelli doesn't care about clever formations. He whispers in the ruler's ear. Do not trust your general. Keep the soldiers loyal to you, not him. If a city resists, crush it completely so it never resists again. Sun Tzu wins wars. Machiavelli prevents rebellions. It's two different arenas. But which one decides history more? The battlefield or the throne room? Look at today. Politicians still quote Machiavelli without even knowing it. Every spin doctor, every media strategist, every corporate boardroom that plays dirty is channeling the prince. But generals, CEOs, and even athletes, they train with Sun Tzu. They study positioning, momentum, and psychological warfare. Think of guerrilla movements in the 20th century. They were pure Sun Tzu, winning through deception, striking unexpectedly. collapsing empires. Now think of dictators who held power for decades. They were pure Machiavelli, silencing dissent, cultivating fear, controlling the image. Head-to-head, law versus law. So let's pit their key laws against each other. Sun Tzu. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Machiavelli. A prince who relies solely on fortune will collapse, but one who controls fortune through force will endure. Sun Tzu says, avoid bloodshed. Machiavelli says, blood is the price of stability. Sun Tzu, he will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. Machiavelli, he who hesitates loses everything. Sun Tzu says, patience. Machiavelli says, strike fast and decisively. 2 codes. 2 realities. Who would win if they faced off? It depends on the terrain. On the battlefield, Sun Tzu would dismantle Machiavelli's armies before they even fought. Through spies, misinformation, and traps, Sun Tzu would dominate. But in the palace, Machiavelli would turn Sun Tzu's allies against him. He would spread fear. He would whisper rumors. And soon, even the general's own soldiers might question his loyalty. So the war is endless. The general may win the day, but the prince decides what happens tomorrow. Hidden insight, here's the real secret. These 2 thinkers aren't enemies. They're 2 halves of the same coin. Sun Tzu teaches how to win the outside war. Machiavelli teaches how to win the inside war. Together, they create the ultimate playbook. Control the field, then control the people. Strike with strategy, then rule with fear. Maybe that's why both books have survived centuries of censorship. Because together, they reveal something terrifying. That power is eternal, and those who study it will always rule those who don't. Closing, so the real question isn't Machiavelli versus Sun Tzu. The real question is this. Which war are you fighting right now? The battlefield of strategy, or the palace of survival? Because whether you realize it or not, their secret war is still being fought inside your world today.